Amaka disappoints me. Yeah, confusion. Hey, Amaka disappoints me. Yeah, disappointment too. It's not funny at all. Seriously, if you are new on this channel, it's your favorite lawyer, Dr. Blessing Joseph, and you are with Victoria Legal. So welcome once again to this episode. We'll be talking about breach of promise to marry. This is the season of love, you know. The season. I don't know if you can smell it. I can smell Valentine. I can smell Valentine. So in the spirit of that oneness, in the spirit of that love, of that unity, I want to drop this Valentine special bonanza onto you. So don't touch the dial, don't switch your channel whatsoever. Remain here. If you are yet to subscribe now. Subscribe now. Share to your loved ones. Bring all of them down to this channel so that we'll embark on this beautiful journey with me. Okay, show that love, show that love, show that love. Breach of promise to marry refers to a circumstance whereby a party fails to fulfill his or her obligation to keep to a promise or an agreement to marry another, thereby causing emotional breakdown or even financial loss. Okay, let me give you an instance of what I'm talking about. Let's say Chinedu and Amaka disappoints me. Chinedu and Amaka has been courting for like 2-3 years, and in the process, Chinedu has made several promises to Amaka, telling her that I'm going to get married to you. Amaka also has told Chinedu, I will get married to you. No problem. Continue paying my school fees. At the end of the day, I will end up in your house. Chinedu on his own part sent Amaka abroad. She even went as far as doing her masters abroad with Chinedu's money. Her parents, they know Chinedu as the man that is to wed her. Chinedu's parents, they know Amaka as the woman that Chinedu loves and Chinedu wants to marry. After these years of investing in Amaka, Amaka came down from, let's say, UK. She came down and she starts seeing Chinedu as a local champ. She starts seeing Chinedu as someone that is not up to her level, a gendered babe. She starts seeing Chinedu as one local tout, one Igbo, a cake human being. You understand? And she tells Chinedu, I'm so sorry. This marriage can't go on any longer. I'm above your level. That's what I'm talking about. And several other instances. This way, if you notice, Amaka has breached. She has breached this promise to marry Chinedu. Breach of promise to marry does not have its own specific statutes. You understand? It doesn't have a law that is tagged consequences or liability for breach of promise to marry. No. It doesn't. What is applicable to breach of promise to marry in Nigeria is our contract law. You understand? It's our contract law. So the whole features, the whole thing applicable to any kind of contract is applicable to breach of promise to marry because it's a contract, it's an agreement, it's adihem, it's a meeting of the mind, an understanding of the mind. You understand? So that is the angle in which we will tackle the situation from. That is the angle in which we will let Amaka know that she has breached the promise to marry Chinedu, our Chinedu. Like I said, there are certain features that makes a contract valid. These same features are what is applicable to promise to marry. That it makes it valid. It makes the promise. It makes the agreement valid. It's a contract, mind you. Promise to marry is an agreement. It's a contract. So these features that must be present here for you to establish that there is a promise to marry, which was breached. These features include offer. There must be a valid offer. I'm not talking about the advertisements you see on Twitter, Facebook, or that's a social media platforms. I'm not talking about those kind of advertisements, those kind of adverts that you say, I'm 35 years, I'm ready to mingle and marry, or I'm 40 years old, I'm looking for a God-fearing woman who is single, who is this, who is that. No, no, no. That is not an offer. That's a mere intention. That is just a mere invitation to treat. It's an invitation to treat. So it is when you see the invitation, when you see the adverts and you respond to it, that you are interested in the advertisement, you're interested in becoming the person's spouse. It is in that circumstance that you are making the offer. That is when the offer is coming into play. And this takes us to acceptance, the second feature here. Acceptance is after a party has made an offer, then you have accepted. Acceptance does not mean you change the circumstance, like you change the offer. If you change the offer, like the person is saying, okay, I'm looking for a 22 years old, or no, and I don't want to take us back to the whole invitation to treat aspects. Let us just move down to the acceptance itself. Let's say, let me give you an instance, okay? Emeka comes to meet Ngozi, tells Ngozi, I want to marry you, but please, Ngozi, any woman I want to marry will not work. Any woman I want to marry will start going to my church. Are you interested? Ngozi says, yes, I am interested in marrying you. But, quote me, listen to the but I am an Anglican. I will not change my church to your church. Or, I am a Celestian. I will not change my church to your church. Or, Ngozi tells you that, okay, we can get married though. I do not want to continue worshiping. In fact, I don't want to be a Christian. If you notice, she has placed her own condition, countering what Emeka wants. Do you understand? She has placed her own condition, countering what Emeka wants. In this scenario, in this circumstance, what Ngozi is giving to Emeka is not an acceptance. What Ngozi is giving to Emeka is a counter offer. She's offering him with another condition. It's a conditional one. You understand? Then if Emeka on his own part accepts her, you understand? That is when there is a counter offer and an acceptance from Emeka this time around. Okay? And this acceptance we're talking about must be immediate. Emeka cannot propose to Ngozi in 2016. Instead of Ngozi to accept immediately or take some few months to accept, Ngozi took like 2 years. Comes back to Emeka and tells Emeka, okay, Emeka, that proposal you made to me 2016, I think I'm interested now, and this is 2020. My dear, the offer has expired. The acceptance must be immediate. You understand? The acceptance must be immediate. It is not something that takes time. One fact to be noted here is that a counter offer is not an acceptance, okay? It is certainly not an acceptance. Another feature of a valid contract is the intention to enter into a legal relationship. There must be meeting of the minds. There must be understanding between the parties. And this understanding must be between a man and a woman. It must be between a man and a woman. The understanding of the minds must be solid. This brings us to the next one, which is certainty. It must be a certain agreement. It's not just a mere cohabitation, like, oh, I've been living with Okafor for some years right now. I've been living with Shegun, or I've been living with Femi for 3 years. So therefore, Femi is supposed to marry me. No. Or I've been dating Ifeinwa for 5 years. So therefore, Ifeinwa ought to get married to me at the end of this year. No. You people, the parties, you have to agree that what you're doing, it is marriage that is the end product. You have to be certain that, okay, December this year, Nkechi, I will get married to you. You understand? Or Chinedu, when I finish for my youth service, I will get married to you. You have to agree. Your minds need to meet. And there have to be a certainty. You understand? You have to be certain of what you want. Not just mere implied terms. No, you have to be certain of what you want. Another feature here is capacity. When we talk about capacity, we look at a lot of things involved. Like, is this person capable of getting married to me? If the person making the proposal, that's the offeror, if the offeror is offering to get married to the offeree, rather, or the offeror is making an offer to get married to Amaka, and you see that the person that is asking you out, is the person that is telling you I want to get married to you, is 14 years old. Is that not a minor? The person does not have the capacity to understand what it takes to get married, does not understand what marriage itself is. So how can such a person make a proposal to you? How can such a person make an offer to get married to you? Consideration here depends on what the law qualifies as adequate or inadequate consideration. Okay? Proof of breach of promise to marry. How do you prove that there is a breach of promise to marry? Promise itself is one of the proof. There must be an existence of promise, not just a hopeful thinking or a hopeful suggestion or an expectation. No, there must be an explicit, clear promise here that can be portrayed through maybe actions or preparation of marriage. You understand? It must be explicit. It must be either explicit or implied. So the promise itself must be clear. It will not be an afterthought of maybe the two of you engage in one form of intercourse or the other, then because the one of the parties seems so pleased, oh, I will marry you. No, the promise must hold ground. So you understand? Another one again you should look at is the reliance on the promise itself. Reasonable reliance. Oh, that's what we're talking about here. Reasonable reliance on the promise. When the aggrieved party relies on the promise that have been made by the party. You understand? Maybe he or she has committed himself by maybe financially, or maybe going ahead to make some commitments by paying for a hall, wedding hall, printing out cards. I'm just giving instances. It can be lesser than that. You understand? But the aggrieved party must have heavily relied on this promise, of which the aggrieved party has suffered emotional loss or financial loss. That's emotional breakdown, emotional distress. Those are the things an aggrieved party needs to prove here, that there is a promise itself, and again, he or she has suffered loss because of the breach of the promise, and he or she has relied fully on the breach, on the promise rather. He or she has relied fully on the promise, and failure of the other party to fulfill that promise has led to the aggrieved party having some loss. Now let's talk about the elements of this promise. Give examples of evidence you can present to establish your breach. It can be written documents, it can be a written correspondence, it can be any document whatsoever that reflects or shows or displays the promise, the intent to marry. Once you bring that forward, once you have that with you, again, you have what it takes to establish breach of promise to marry. There are two types of breach of promise to marry here. It can fall under non-performance. That's non-performance breach. Maybe the party failed to fulfill the specific performance, that he fails to fulfill the promise to marry. Or anticipatory breach here, whereby on that day, prior to the day of the wedding, the other party elopes or cancels the wedding. You understand? So any of the breach of promise to marry can fall into any of these headings. So this will bring us to defenses. What form of defense can the other party bring against the aggrieved person? Let's hit minds together here. The defenses may include: 1, either the parties, as at that time the promise was made, is married to some other person. You cannot promise to marry somebody else when you are already married to somebody. That's to a third party, or a person whom you're promising is already married to a third party. The promise itself is non void. You understand? Void ab initio. Then again, you made a promise to somebody that is related to you, a descendant of the same ancestor. That's degree of consanguinity. You're related, you're from the same kindred, you're not permitted to marry. No, you can't. That promise will not stand. Or even affinity, degree of affinity. That is when you're related by marriage. Let's say you promise your father's wife, that's your stepmother, marriage. No, the promise is not valid. So again, when either of the parties have illness that can be contagious, like let's say one of the parties has AIDS, or the genotypes do not match, they're not compatible. Let's say, let me give an instance. Emeka, I don't know why I keep using Emeka. Emeka, don't get angry. Emeka wants to marry Amaka. Emeka is AS and Amaka is AS. They want to get married. Obviously, it's not advisable medically for them to get married. Then at the point, probably Emeka has even promised Amaka that I will get married to you. They're already fixing things, already arranging. Lo and behold, a family member suggested they go for lab work. They then go for blood tests. They ended up doing the blood tests, only for them to find out that they are not compatible. You understand? Emeka tells Amaka, you are AS, so I'm AS. We can't gel, we can't get married. You understand? Amaka cannot sue Emeka for breach of promise to marry. No. You understand? No. Then, or Amaka is having epilepsy. You understand? Amaka is having epilepsy or one chronic illness or the other, and she hid the fact that she's having this illness from Emeka. Lo and behold, Emeka has already promised heaven and earth to marry Amaka, but later on he finds out that Amaka is suffering from such illness. You understand? Maybe Amaka has epilepsy or something or the other. My dear, he did not know when he made that promise at that time, so it can be held as a breach. He can use that as a defense here. All right, there are several other defenses a defendant to a claim of breach of promise to marry can come up with. Another one is fake consent, whereby the aggrieved party here obtained consent of the party either by fraud or duress. You understand? Fake consent. You understand? That one is deceit or misrepresentation, whereby the aggrieved party obtained the consent or obtained the offer by deceit. Let me give you an instance here. Or misrepresentation. Let me give you an instance here. Let's say this lady wants to get married to, let's say Amaka wants to get married to Emeka. Emeka also wants to get married to Amaka, but he was thinking Amaka's father is Dangote. He was thinking Amaka's father is the richest man on earth. That is why he wants to marry Amaka. And Amaka lied that her son name is Dangote. Meanwhile, her son name is Ubafo. Or one name or the other. So on that note that Amaka's father is Dangote, Emeka decided to marry Amaka, thinking I will become in-law to Dangote. So if Emeka finds out that Amaka lied about her identity to him, Emeka can decide to call off the engagement, and he will not be held liable for the breach. Let me give another instance again. Let's say, the way girls make up nowadays, the way we make up, you make up, paint the eye, paint the nose, in fact, give the nose broad, narrow nose, cut off the lips, do a lot of surgeries, make your nose pointed, make the cheekbone and all that. A lot of things happen now in the operation room. A lot of people go under different kind of surgery, both girls and men. Even you have the ones that cut off their genitals, the transgenders. And if you do not disclose these facts to your spouse, your intended spouse, and the party finds out later on that, oh, so really you were a man before, or oh, really you were a woman before, he will be on the right, or she will be on the right to call off the engagement. So you understand now, all these defenses can come into play for the defendant here in any suit concerning breach of promise to marry. That is on one hand. Then let's talk about the remedies. Having established features that must be in a promise to marry, we have established what evidence they prove for you to bring up in court or before an authority that you have been offended. Let's talk about the remedies, because if there is a right, or if there is a wrong, rather, there should be remedy to those wrongs. You understand? Once you can establish that there is a wrong somewhere else, you have been able to narrow down the whole facts to this, that yes, okay, there is a wrong, there should be remedies. And what are the remedies here? You don't need to resort to self-help. You see some people, oh, she jilted me. Oh, he jilted me, so therefore I should murder him. He jilted me, she jilted me. Okay, I will pour him acid. Some people go as far as pouring these people acid. They go as far as poisoning. They go as far as self-help. There was this important case, that went viral. Oh, because she promised to get married to me, and because of that, we bought a house together, planned the whole marriage and everything. Then, since it did not go down the way he wanted, he decided to claim the property. You don't resort to self-help. If such scenario occur or such breach occur, please come to us. We are legal practitioners. We can let you know the next step to take. You approach the court and sue. You, the aggrieved party, you sue the person who has breached the promise, the contract here. You sue the person. Then the court has every discretion to award damages in every scenario concerning breach of promise to marry. The court's discretion is at the hands of the court. So the court can award damages. Most times, this award I'm talking about can be in form of money or property. You understand? The court will not enforce that, no, you must marry the aggrieved person because you promised to marry her or you promised to marry him. No. Marriage is by choice. It's not by force. It's a thing of choice. So instead, if you are aggrieved or you feel you have suffered any form of loss because you have relied heavily on a promise to marry, then you can approach the court. The court will do the needful by awarding damages. Can either award in form of money or property or whatever means the court deems it fit at that time. You understand? So it's at the discretion of the court. So I think with all this, some persons might also still argue. They might feel no. There are some certain things that you don't need to explicitly state. Like I said, do not resort to self-help, because it can bring about breach of peace. That is how I'm going to end it here for today, okay? If at this point you have not subscribed to this channel, oh no. If at this point you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so immediately. Share to your loved ones, share to your family, your friends, share to everyone around you. Let's keep this channel alive. Let's keep this moving. Share, show some love, okay? So click on your notification bell, okay? Share, like I said, tune in. I'm on all the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So share, show some love, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Gracias.